Okay, so I'll start the session. So good evening and good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to Miss Oma. Miss Oma, we are truly honored to have you join us today. Um, Let me just talk a bit about our group. Our fellows are mostly from Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we have one from Zimbabwe. And most of them are already working in the field of HR with 1 or 2 years of experience at a junior level under their belts. And many of them are diving into recruitment or supporting hiring processes. But here's the thing that understanding how to write a job description or conducting an interview is very different from understanding how actually recruiters think, when making those critical hiring decisions. And that's exactly why we needed you here today. Miss Oma, fellows, Miss Oma brings a unique and powerful combination of skills to the table. She is a business analyst. She's a virtual assistant, along with data entry specialist and HR analyst. And what makes this particularly valuable is that she just doesn't see recruitment from one angle. She sees it through the lens of data, operations, people strategy, and real world execution. So Ms. Oma has been behind the hiring desk, supporting talent acquisition, ensuring compliance, and assisting in performance measurement. She knows what happens from the moment a job requisition is approved to the moment an offer letter is signed. So she understands the pressure recruiters face, the quick decisions they must take, and the factors that can make or break a candidate's chances. So today's session, Behind the Hiring Desk, how recruiters think, will pull back the curtain on the recruitment process. We'll Hopefully we'll explore job descriptions and sourcing, application screening, interview processes, decision making, and the real challenges that recruiters face every day. So I'm very excited for all of you to engage with Ms. Oma, ask your questions, and make the most out of this truly, meaningful conversation. So, Ms. Oma, the floor is all yours, and welcome once again at Women Ascension.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Hello.
so much. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is Mrs. Afomachukwu Echem, and I'm excited to join you all today. It's an honor. So, I'm a recruiter and HR personnel based on what I have to speak on today. So, I have experience in talent acquisition, candidate screening, interview management, and helping organizations to find the right fit for their roles is very important. So today I'll be sharing some practical insights on what happens behind the scenes in recruitment, from writing job descriptions to selecting the right candidate for the job. And my goal today will be to help you understand the real work of a recruiter, the challenges we face, what we look for, how we screen, how we interview, and how we decide who to hire. So hopefully you all will get to ask me questions at any point. So let's start with the number one, the recruiter's perspective, and that is what we look for in a candidate. This is very, very important. So when recruiting candidates, as a recruiter, you don't look at only the skills. You don't look at you don't look at the perfect candidate or who has the most experience. To me, a great candidate is someone who is clear, who is confident, who communicates properly and consistent. It's not the most experienced person. That's not not all companies need that. For example, startup companies, they look for speed, they look for flexibility. NGOs, they look for passion, alignment, and large companies, they look for experience. So every company has different priorities. So the qualities we should prioritize as a recruiter when hiring, number one is communication. You need to look for someone who communicates properly, who uses words in a cautious way. There are some, I've had experiences with candidates or applicants who use vague words when communicating, and that is a terrible thing. And that is a risk to the company. So you need to look for someone who communicates properly. You're not looking at the words, you're looking at how the words are said, the body language. The second is the confidence. You have to look for someone who is proud of what he or she has to offer to the company. Okay? That someone is nervous doesn't make them a bad fit for the role, but someone who is confident in what he or she has to offer, has to give. Okay? And that's why they say, as a recruiter, you have to be soft spoken. There are candidates that probably are nervous, and when, as a recruiter, you're soft spoken, you will know how to communicate better to them to feel relaxed, open up, and talk to you, especially when it comes to the storytelling and questions, behavioral questions you'll get to ask them and how they would say those words to you. The next one is the growth mindset. Growth, the word alone explains itself. This is looking out for abilities in a candidate that you as a recruiter, you feel that it can be developed through dedication and hard work. Any candidate that is coming in to work in a company, if he or she has a growth mindset, that person would want to see the company grow. The person is ready to offer ideas, offer ideas and suggestions, suggestions to help the company grow, okay, regardless of the role. So that's also important. Then we look out for reliability, someone that is trusted. And how do we get to understand, or how do we get to know the qualities that we're prioritizing when reviewing candidates? That is where, as a recruiter, you have to have questions tabled out. Questions you can ask them aside from questions that surround the job description. We have to be able to differentiate that. There are questions that has to do with the job itself, and there are questions you have to ask. Those questions, they are usually called behavioral questions, and I'll get to that soon. Okay, the next is a culture fit. And the culture fit, is an alignment or an agreement between a candidate's personality and a company's core values. When looking for someone, you're looking for a candidate who agrees or who is willing to work with what the company has to offer. I'm not talking about the financial aspect, no. I'm talking about the values of that company. You're looking out for someone that is ready to share same values as the company. And that is where growth mindset also comes in. When that happens, when a candidate's values aligns with that of the company, that person is willing to pour into the company to see it grow. Okay? And then another thing is the integrity, and that is being honest. All these qualities we're looking out for, you can find them out through questions. And like I said, I'll get to that soon. Okay, so these are points I would love you to take note of when it comes to what we are looking for. Number one, a technically strong candidate with lots and lots of experience, but with a bad attitude is a risk to any company. Bad attitude, someone that cannot respect a team leader, someone that cannot work with a team, someone that doesn't share the same values with the company is a risk to the company. Two, communication is assessed from the first message. not just the interview, okay? When you relay a message to an applicant, the response you get should determine if the person is fit for the job. You do not have to get to the interview to know. The way the person communicates his words or sends a message across to you should let you know if this person, if you should go ahead with this applicant or you should drop the person off. Okay. Then another thing, third one is CV design. A good applicant or someone who knows what he or she has to offer should be detail oriented. Detail oriented is very important. There are some people or there are some applicants, their CVs are haphazard. It's not neatly done. They put in words, they use big words, they use long words, and it's not what we're looking for. It has to be detail oriented. The CV design should be good. The person should be specific with what he or she has to offer. Okay. Then culture fit affects retention. And what does this mean? Employers or employees, who align with a company's values and work environment, they are more likely to be engaged and loyal. They are likely to pour into that company. Yes, it's not in norms, it's not going to be easy, but seeing someone who wants to grow, and that's quality, you find it in someone that his or her values aligns with the company. It's very, very important to take note of this. So I think that is all for recruiters' perspective. So this is what we look for, the qualities we look for. Okay, let's go to the second one, job descriptions and sourcing. So a lot of people don't know this, but job description is the foundation of every recruitment process. It's the foundation. A very good job description should be very clear. It should be clear, simple, and it should be organized. And that is the work of a recruiter. Okay. So what do we look for in a good job description? It's a good job description. It clearly states the role summary, the responsibilities, the requirements, the preferred skills, and the reporting line. The role summary, that is what the job is about. The responsibilities, what the candidate has to offer to the company. The requirements, what the candidate has already that will be beneficial to the company. The skills, this is what you are willing to work on, improve on as a candidate for the benefit of the company. Then the reporting line is a chain of command. The reporting line is a chain of command. Most job descriptions bear that, some do not, but it can also be put in. It would help an applicant to understand what he or she is applying for. Is very important. And is a chain of command. And this is how information authority, it flows within an organization. It's about who communicates to who, okay? And that is where they are team leaders. You have who you're reporting to. The person has who he or she is reporting to. So that is what reporting line is about. Okay, so when sourcing candidates, I think many of us we know about social media. We make use of social media, and yes, you can use Facebook, you can use Instagram, though that's not so specific though. Then the major ones are the bowling search, the LinkedIn, referrals, and job boards. Like, okay, for example, when you go to LinkedIn, You see a lot of people, they'll post that they're available for work. And when you put up a job post, a lot of people apply through it. Okay, LinkedIn is the most used one. And then there is the Boolean search. The Boolean search is when you make use of Boolean operators like and, or, to combine keywords. Okay, so it allows you to broaden your search by specifying the relationship between terms. Okay, then and the Boolean search and the LinkedIn, it actually helps one to be able to search or source out for people who don't apply, or active applicants. Okay, there are people who don't apply. There are people that may not even see it. But when you broaden your search, when you use the Boolean search to broaden your search, it makes you see people that have the skills or have the qualifications the company needs. And that helps you to reach out to them easily. Okay. So, okay. So how do you, okay, there's a question people do always ask: how do you write a job description for a new role? And like I said, the first one is the role. You have to define what you're looking for, or what the job is about. You cannot be looking for a data analyst or a business analyst and you're just putting up, we're looking for a business analyst. You can't do it. You have to be specific. You have to know this is what you're doing. This is what you're looking for. Like in data analysis, there is a financial data analyst. There is entry level. There is senior data analyst. So you have to explain what that job is about. And when you do that, the next is the responsibilities for a new role. The next is the responsibilities. The next one is the requirements. And I said the responsibilities is what the person has to offer to the company. The requirements is what the person has, requirements or qualifications. You can use any of the words. The qualifications, this is what you already have, what you know within you as a candidate that you can offer to the company. And the preferred skills, this is what you, as a candidate, you have, the candidate has to have this to be able to boost the growth. Yes, to boost the growth of the company. Okay, then the reporting line. So these are things. This is the structure one uses to write a good job description. Okay, so the third one is the application screening. So there is a rule I always use, the 30 to 60 second rule. I always use that. And what do I mean by that? The 30 to 60 second rule. So when you're reviewing candidates, you take 30 to 60 seconds to scan the CV. Okay, let's say, for example, someone walks up to you and the person is not properly dressed. As a human that we are, the next thing we do, within 30 to 60 seconds, you already know the mistakes this person made in his or her dressing. So this is how it is in screening. You take 30 to, once you glance at a CV, 30 to 60 seconds, you will use it to scan and check for red flags. So these are things you check out for. Number one, CV structure. That is the first thing. You have to glance. Some people, they probably they write it wrongly. Okay. The next thing is the clarity. The person should be, if the person is not specific, the applicant is not specific with his words or with what he has to offer or what he is capable of doing, that is clarity. And when you do not see that, that is a red flag. And the next one is relevance of experience and achievements. You look out for how long Someone that is an entry-level data analyst shouldn't be applying for a senior data analyst role. It's not possible. But you know, a lot of applicants will sure apply. They don't know which is which. They just want to get the job done. Okay. So once you glance through and you know this person is an entry-level data analyst or business analyst, you already know this is a red flag. This person is not it. You drop the person off immediately. You do not have to get to the point of interview to know. Okay. And there are common mistakes you see on CVs. Yeah. One, missing dates, too long CVs, big words, and no achievements. Okay, because there are some people that when they're writing their CVs, and we know, yes, you're an analyst, um okay, what do they call it? You're a virtual assistant, you're an affiliate marketer, you're this and you're that. And a lot of people, they put all of this in one CV. Any company that is looking out for that, or any recruiter, when you see all of that, the first thing that comes to your mind is that this person cannot concentrate on one. So you should, as a recruiter, you should understand that a CV should be specific. It's very, very important. It should be specific, and that is what you should be looking for. A good CV should be specific. Okay. So, okay. So some companies make use of ATS. I don't know if you know about that. ATS is an applicant tracking system. So some people, like large companies that do not have the time to go through 200 applications, 300 applications in a day or for a particular role, they make use of ATS. But it's not for startup companies, of course. For those large companies, they know there are a lot of applications. They make use of ATS, and it's in a situation where a recruiter is supposed to use the 30 to 60 seconds to scan a document. The ATS replaces the recruiter in that aspect. The ATS will help to scan the CV before the recruiter studies it. It helps you to glance through and drops off a lot of applications that are not worth it, or that don't fit the role, or are not good enough for the particular role they are looking for. Okay. So down to the interview process. So before interviewing, we study the CV. You have to study the CV. You have to understand the job description. And also you have to prepare structured questions. Okay. So like I said before, why interviewing or why reviewing candidates, you do not just listen to what they say. You listen to how they say those words. Some people make use of vague words while communicating, which is a risk to the company, as I said earlier. So before interviewing, as a recruiter, you have to study the CV. That is very important. You have to understand the job description, and you have to prepare structured questions for the candidates. Not just questions that has to do with the job, but behavioral questions as well. So there is a method we all use. I don't know, most HRs will make use of it. It's called the STAR method. And it stands for situation, task, action, and result. So when you make use of the STAR method, you're looking for clarity. Why make use of the STAR method? You look for clarity, confidence, problem-solving skills, authenticity, and attitude. It's an approach that helps in interview questions. Okay. So when you probably see some red flags like vague answers, inconsistencies, vague answers. People, when you ask them some questions, they answer wrongly, or they answer without sorry, they answer wrongly, yes, and then they answer without caution. I'm trying to get the word. Okay, let me skip that. Okay. So, and there are people that also blame others. Like, how do we know all this? We start with the behavioral questions. I'll give you examples of some behavioral questions you ask these candidates to be able to determine their attitude, their answers, and how they do when it comes to a team. How do they work with a team? There are people that when you ask them, how do you resolve issues? They always look for who to blame. They will tell you a particular person did like this or did like that. They don't realize that they had a part to play in the mistake. They always look out for people to blame, and that is a red flag. And this STAR method will help you to understand what you're looking for in a candidate. Okay? So, yes. Okay. So the STAR method is a way to answer behavioral interview questions and other common questions that require storytelling. So it also proves you've got the skills needed to excel in the position you applied for based on a story about how you used those skills in the past, okay? So this helps a recruiter to understand how a candidate behaves, his behavior, his attitude, his confidence, his answers, mindsets, and all of that. Okay, so examples of behavioral questions you can ask a candidate. Number one, let's say for example, okay, share an example of a time when you faced a difficult problem at work. These are normal questions you ask them, okay? Have you ever had to make an unpopular decision? Another one, tell me about the mistake you've made, okay? And this is a part where the person tells a lot of stories, probably will be cut short, but will get to tell his or her story of how he handled certain situations. And that will help you as a recruiter to understand what you're going for. If this person is the perfect fit for the role. Okay. Describe a conflict you handled. Okay. Share an example of a time you had to make a difficult decision. So these are behavioral questions you can throw light on when interviewing candidates. Okay, so there's a question someone asked me one time. How do you deal with nervous candidates? There are candidates that they feel nervous when answering questions, especially when it's on a video meeting or video call. How do you do it? As a recruiter is like a therapist in the company. Yeah, it's like a therapist in the company, and you have to be soft spoken. There are people that a candidate is nervous doesn't mean the person is not a good fit for the role. Okay. But as a recruiter, when you notice that this person is nervous, you can call the person, you get soft spoken, you can call the person by his or her name and tell the person, okay, calm down, let's look at me and take your time and answer the questions. When you tell someone that, the person will feel calm. I remember the first time I had my first interview. I was nervous. Yes, I faced that as well. I was very nervous. I was pinching my fingers, and I was rubbing my palms. At that point, I was having goosebumps. And I remember um my interviewer at that point, it was a lady. She called my name, Mrs. Afoma. I want you to calm down. Don't be nervous. Calm down and answer the questions. Take your time. At that point, I felt calm. I understood, okay, I have to represent, I have to say what's on my mind. And I calmly told her what I had to offer. It wasn't like I didn't have what it took, but I was nervous at that point. And it happens to a lot of candidates. Not everyone is so outspoken, but that doesn't mean the person is a bad fit. Okay. So as a recruiter, you have to be soft spoken. It's very, very important. It helps a candidate or someone applying for the job, especially during the interview, to feel calm, connected to you, and talk to you. Okay. So, oh, sorry. So that's it about interview process. Okay, let's go to the next one. Decision making. Okay, so hiring decisions, they are based on is a combination of skill, experience, potential, attitude, communication, and culture fit. All these I listed are the qualities we look out for in a candidate, remember? So those qualities or potentials, this is what helps us in deciding who we're going for or who is perfect for the role. Okay. And we need to understand this, that sometimes someone with less experience may get hired. Someone with less experience, can be the perfect fit. The major thing is having a good attitude, potential, being able to communicate properly, and eager to learn. Having that ability for stronger learning this is something we should look out for. Okay. Not just about experience. There are people with lots of experience, but they are very terrible. The attitude they display is terrible. It's always terrible. And that doesn't make them a perfect fit. That doesn't make them a good fit at all. Okay. So we shouldn't just look at the experience the person has. We look out for someone that has potential to offer to the company. It's very important. Okay. So, okay. And as a recruiter, you need to learn to collaborate with hiring managers. I know a lot of recruiters, when you tell them to involve the hiring managers, they feel like they can do it on their own. But no, the decision making is not just in your hands. Okay. Hiring a person is not just in your hands. You have to learn to collaborate with hiring managers, no matter the disagreement or the different personality you both may have. You need to learn to work with them, work as a team, because whatever you are expecting from a candidate, you as a recruiter has to have it. You have to bear those qualities in you, to look for all that in another person, in a candidate. Okay. As a recruiter, you can't say you don't like working as a team or working with hiring managers and you expect a candidate to learn to work with a team. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So you have to learn to collaborate with the hiring managers. And after that, with their help, you both can compare the scores and you discuss trade-offs. And yeah, what are trade-offs? So trade-offs, there are situations where a recruiter, with the help of hiring managers, of course, you must choose between two or more competing options to help in the decision-making process. Like I said, as a recruiter, you cannot make the sole decision on your own. You will need the help of hiring managers to make that decision. Okay. So turn-offs, there are situations where a recruiter, with the help of hiring managers, you must choose between two or more competing options. In a situation where 200 applicants or applications are there, and after reviewing, you end up with 5 very good applicants, and it's just for one role, that means only one person will be chosen from the 5. So the turn-offs will help you to choose who is the better fit, who is the better option for the role. So it helps in the decision making. Okay, so like I said earlier, the most qualified candidate isn't always the best fit. Okay, okay. Okay, there was a question I just saw now. Okay, so the most qualified candidate isn't the best fit. Yes, I said that. So there is a question that's always asked whenever I talk about this. Do you hire for potential or experience? Okay, when it comes to that potential experience, to me, I would say go for the potential more. Someone with 20% experience and that is willing to grow or learn about the job is much better for the company than someone who has 100% experience but is not eager. Okay, to what extent? All right, is not eager to grow or is not eager to learn. So go more for the potential than the experience. Okay, someone that has 20% experience is eager to learn is much better. To me, that is much better, and that is what you should look out for. Okay. Then also, when it comes to disagreements with hiring managers, how do you handle it? This is very, very important because some recruiters always have disagreements. Maybe the person or the option the recruiter has, a hiring manager may have a different opinion or option. So first off, as a recruiter, you have to understand the roots of the conflict. You discuss the concerns with the hiring manager and you make sure that clear expectations are set. Okay? You can set up a private meeting, discuss the viewpoints, and learn to listen to each other's perspectives. That you were there or that you are the recruiter doesn't mean another person's opinions cannot be respected or looked at. You have to respect and listen to each other's perspectives and always use soft words. Do not raise your voice. Nobody is looking out for who is going to win the argument. That is not the goal. The goal is to find a solution that benefits the team. And that is when you look at if this candidate will help or benefit the team or benefit the company or is willing to work with a team for the benefit of the company. Okay? And it can also involve compromise. Probably your option may not be what every other person wants. It may be that of the hiring manager. It doesn't mean that it's yours is a bad suggestion or anything. No, there must be a form of compromise when it comes to this. Okay, because you both are two different people. You both have different opinions. So the last one we'll be talking about is the challenges in recruitment. Yes, there are a lot of challenges we face as recruiters, HR personnel, and all. Okay, so there are challenges like large application volumes. Imagine for a particular role, you're getting about 200 to 300 applications. That is quite much, right? And trying to know that is why you need the help of hiring managers, because as a recruiter you may not be able to do it all on your own, and that is why you work as a team. This is very important. Teamwork, effort, work is very important when it comes to this job. Then you get challenges. Okay, there are also challenges like dishonest candidates. Yeah, candidates that probably lie about what they have to offer and all of that. And that is where the behavioral questions helps you to ascertain and to know who is honest and who is not. Okay. When you throw a light on those questions, of which a candidate may not be expecting those questions at first, but when you throw a light on it and they have to answer, you look at how do they communicate? How do they say those words? Okay. Then unclear job requirements. That is also important. What you are looking for in a candidate. It has to be clear. So some challenges recruiters face is unclear job requirements, pressure from hiring managers, of course, that happens. Disagreements, pressure, it also happens. Okay. Then another thing that also is a challenge to recruiters is remote recruitment. Okay, this is a situation where you have to interview someone over a video call. You are just seeing the person's face. You do not know the body, how the person is reacting. You don't know the body language. You don't know whether the person is fumbling or not even confident. It's hard to determine that. But yes, there are strategies you can also, apply. I'm sorry. There are strategies you can also apply to ensure fairness. Okay, I'll list that out now. Okay, number one is structured interviews. Okay, structured interviews. Then second is cross-checking information. You have to cross-check the candidate's information and asking probing questions or behavioral questions or questions you feel within you that you need to ask. Okay? You have to, as a recruiter, you don't just go on and interview a person. You have to prepare yourself ahead of time. You have to put down questions that you feel are very, very important for this person. Okay? Then scoring rubrics. Okay? A scoring rubric, let me explain that, is a tool that defines the expectations used to evaluate each candidate. Okay? By using this, each person in a group discussion, they can participate equally in assessing candidates. Okay? In a situation like this, scoring rubric is like when you're interviewing a candidate, probably the CEO can be there, the hiring managers can be there, you as a recruiter can be there. And when the candidate is talking or explaining himself or herself, each person is obligated to put down what he or she thinks. The CEO has his own opinion. The hiring managers have their own opinions. You as a recruiter, you have your own opinion. So the scoring rubric, it helps. It helps a lot. So each person can participate equally in assessing the candidate. Okay? So another thing that helps is diversity and inclusion. They help a lot. Okay, so diversity is the presence of a wide range of human differences. And inclusion is the practice of ensuring that everyone feels valued, respected, and has a sense of belonging. So I'll explain it in simple terms. So diversity, is a mix of people. This is a mix of different human behaviors and differences. Okay, you may not have the same opinion with another person. So diversity is the mix of people. While inclusion is making sure that the particular mix of people can work well together by creating an environment where everyone can fully participate. Okay? So inclusion is bringing that mix of people together to be able to work in a harmonious environment. Please, I hope you all are following. Are we there?
Yes, we are there.
Okay, all right. Okay, so first, before we go on with the questions, I will tell you about the most challenging recruitment experience I had. Yes, it was very stressful, but it taught me a lot. Okay, so the most challenging recruitment experience I had was hiring a senior data analyst for a company. It was a fast-growing company, and for a senior data analyst, the role is very, very specific and unique. It required very rare technical skills, strong communication, and lots of experience. And when I received a lot of applications, I saw that most candidates were either entry level or they were too expensive. And funny enough, some even dropped out during the process because probably they had other offers or something like that. But what did I do? How did I solve this? It was very challenging, yes. So I expanded my sourcing channels. I reached out to passive candidates. That was when I used the bully search. I reached out to candidates that didn't apply themselves. Okay. Like when you go on LinkedIn, you will see a lot of people that put up a post about themselves and tell you, okay, for example, I'm a virtual assistant. I do this, I'm good at this, I do this, and I do that. And it helps you to understand this is what this person has to offer. Does it align with what you're looking for? So that is what I did. And I worked closely with the hiring manager. Like I said, as a recruiter, you have to learn to work as a team. It's very important so that they could adjust their expectations. It was a lot. It made it tough for me getting the perfect candidate. The expectations were high, but I know after several weeks of careful screening, I was able to find a strong candidate who matched both the skills, the requirements, and the fit, the culture fit. Yeah. But this experience, it actually taught me a lot. It taught me patience. It taught me creativity. And it taught me the importance of clear communication with my team and the candidates. Okay, so it's really helped me to be patient. As a recruiter, you have to have a lot of qualities as well. Patience, being soft-spoken, being able to work with a team, communication, consistency, and all of that. Okay, so it's very, very important. And at this point, I think we've consumed quite a lot of time. So are there any questions you would like to throw light on?
Thank you so much, Ms. Oma, for your time. The expertise you have shared were really helpful, and there have been a lot of interesting questions that have been dropped in the chat box. And I hope
Okay,
that we can take most of them in the time that's left. Can I start asking the questions for you?
okay.
Okay. So Ms. Khushi says that after a great interview, how can I follow up in a polite and professional way without sounding too eager?
Okay. How do you follow up? Okay. How to do that? All you have to do is to send a polite follow-up. If there is no response, you move on and contact other candidates. Okay?
Okay. Um,
Okay.
I believe so. She's asking from the candidate's perspective that
Okay,
how
from the
can
candidates.
candidate,
Okay. Okay,
yeah,
now I see the question. Okay, after a great interview, how can I follow up in a okay?
yeah.
Without sounding too bigger. Okay, first you send a polite follow-up. Okay, you wait for a response from them. Okay, a polite follow-up, it's okay. If the job is for you, you would have it. But following up, some companies will not respond, especially when they have a lot of applications coming in. Okay, did I answer the question? Hello? 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 Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, well answered.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello.
I
Oh,
apologize. Okay. I believe the problem was at my end, and I thought that I was unable to hear you. I
Oh,
apologize.
okay.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So there is another question that how significant is a candidate's email tone in shaping a company's or institution impression of them?
Well, a candidate's email tone is extremely significant.
Yeah.
Okay. It shows professionalism. That's a polite and well-structured email. It tells the recruiter the candidate is serious and respectful. Okay. It also reveals communication skills. A lot of companies, they judge how well you communicate with clients, managers. So if your email is confusing or too casual, they will assume where you're working from or the communication at your workplace is just the same. And it also helps in determining if the person is matured and the level of maturity and attitude. I think yes, the level of maturity and attitude. So one stone can either show confidence, humility, gratitude, and all of that. Okay. Then it also indicates the cultural fit, which is very important because a lot of companies, they look for candidates who match their company culture, whether formal or neutral. Okay. It also affects trust. When the tone, okay, let me get that. Okay, when the candidate's email tone is well written, it makes you look reliable
Yeah.
and easy to work with. So a poor tone can quietly raise red flags. Okay. So did I answer the question?
I believe so. You truly did. Yes. Yeah. So there's
Is the
another
person
question.
confused in any situation, in any way? The person that asked the question, is she clarified on that?
Yes, yes, she is.
All right.
Okay. There's another question, and I'm also really interested in knowing this. You know that what should be the acceptable career gap in a CV?
Okay. Acceptable career gap. Okay. Okay, I think the first one should be health reasons. Yes, health reasons. For some certifications, further certifications, yes, and family responsibilities too. Career change can also do that.
Yeah.
Personal development, business venture, or a freelancer. Yes, that works too. And then relocation too. All right. And
Okay.
in the health reasons, I don't think there is need giving medical details. There is no need. All you have to do is being able to explain yourself in a tone that is acceptable.
Okay. So,
Okay.
what should be its duration? Should it be more than 3 months or less than 3 months? The
Was that?
career gap. I'm asking if the career gap's duration, about the career gap duration. Should it be more than 3 months or less than it? How much would be acceptable?
Most companies do not accept more than 3 months.
Okay.
Okay. Because it's like telling the company, look for someone else in my place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yes, you have to be specific and you have to work with what the company can offer at that point. It's just like a maternity leave. When a company is giving you a maternity leave, you don't tell them you're going for a year to take care of your child. They are going to give you 3 to 6 months or 6 to 8 months, and you have to work and be able to come back after that tenure. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so there is another question, and it's also CV related. That what small detail in a CV makes candidate appealing? What is there that's something, yeah, a small detail that makes the CV appealing of the candidate.
Okay. Details in a CV. Now, I think the first one should be an easy to read CV,
Okay.
because some candidates, they make use of big words. You write a long CV, and that already is unappealing. When a recruiter comes and sees your CV and it's too long to read, it's tiring. And the next one is the keywords that match the job description. That is very important too. Okay. As a recruiter, when you use the 30 to 60 seconds to scan CVs, it helps you to get the keywords that you need to match whatever role the person is applying for with his or her qualifications. Okay. Then quantified results. Okay. Then there is the tone too, consistent, and the professional tone at which the person is passing the message across, and then the relevant skills too. Sorry, the relevant skills, and what else? Okay, the professional summary. Yes, a candidate's profession. That is the first one you look out for. Yes, the professional summary. As if you're a data analyst, you have to put up something that this is all about you. Some recruiters don't even need to read, they don't read the rest of whatever you wrote, but the summary or whatever you put there, that it can just be 2 to 3 lines. It may not be much. Yeah. But it is something that can attract the attention of a recruiter. So those small details is what can be appealing in the eyes of a recruiter. Okay. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, yes, it does. It definitely does. There is another question, and it's about advising, it's about advising fresh HR professionals. That what advice do you give fresh HR professionals or aspiring HR professionals on how they can carry themselves in virtual engagements, given that you have observed and witnessed a lot of meetings and engagement? So what makes candidates stand out or professionals in virtual commitments?
Okay. You'll probably have to read this out again. I was trying so fast to grasp it. So please.
Okay. So the question is that what advice do you give fresh HR professionals on how should they carry themselves in virtual engagements?
Okay.
Yeah. And it says then that you have observed and witnessed a lot of meetings and engagements. So, which one makes candidates stand out or professionals in virtual commitments?
Okay. So okay. One of the major things that makes a candidate stand out is when a candidate comes prepared. Okay. When a candidate comes prepared, you have to be ready for whatever comes out. You have to get your talking points ready, your documents and notes open for reference. And also, there is something I also noticed about that's yes, in virtual engagements, keeping your environment professional is very important. Quiet background and dressing professionally too. It is also important because there are some that will look all messy. Their hairs are messed up and you're in a virtual meeting. Then also your body language. You cannot be scratching your back. You have to sit up straight. You have to smile when appropriate. You have to nod to show that you're understanding what you're saying. and using a professional tone. Your voice should be very clear, should be cautious, should be calm, right? You don't have to sound too casual, right? Then muting yourself when you're not speaking, that thing is a very good thing. Yes, some people see it, they may see it themselves as a form of disrespect, but no, when you're not speaking, you could just mute yourself so that the background noise won't crouch into the conversation you're having. And that is where it is disrespectful. Then make sure that you're also tech ready. Your mic, your internet, your camera should be ready. Have a backup device if possible. All right. Then okay. Then also following up professionally. Just like the other question I answered, you have to follow up professionally. You don't have to sound too demanding or too persistent. You just have to follow up professionally and leave it at that. Okay, so did I answer the question?
Yes, yes, you most definitely did. Since our time is short, Miss Oma, we'll take this last question and then
Okay,
we'll move towards concluding the session. So this
all
question
right.
is really interesting, and the question says that what are some unexpected or lesser known behaviors during interviews that instantly raise red flags?
Okay, say it again.
Okay. So, what are some unexpected or lesser known behaviors during interviews that instantly raise red flags?
Okay, some expert. Okay, so some unexpected behaviors that raise red flags is like I said before, vague words, your body language. All right. When both from the recruiter and the candidate using vague words, and also your body language and how you communicate. When you're not clear in communication or you're trying to fumble words, it can be a red flag. That means you do not know what you're offering or what you're doing. Okay. Then what else? Then dishonesty too, you know, especially when you ask a candidate some behavioral questions and the person is not able to answer. And also when a candidate can't make use of specific examples to explain him or herself when telling a story when it comes to the questions. Because there are some questions you ask, it has to involve storytelling, of course. And when you can't use specific examples, that means you do not know what you're doing. And that is a red flag. Okay. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes,
Do
yes,
I
it
need?
most definitely
All
does.
right. All right.
Yeah. Yes. I wish we could have had the conversation a bit longer if we had more time, because it was truly amazing and it was truly meaningful and eye-opening. You shared a lot of things that, most of us often as recruiters, uh, you know, miss those details out. And it was truly amazing to have you here. So, Miss Oma, thank you once again, for being here with us today and, for giving us such honest and, behind the scenes look at how recruiters actually think and work. And we truly
Yeah.
appreciate that you took your time out of your schedule to, invest in our fellows at Women Ascension. And, it truly means, it means more than to us than, So,
You're
what you've
welcome.
shared today has been incredibly eye-opening. You have, demystified the recruitment process and have helped our, fellows understand that hiring isn't just about filling positions. So, to everyone here today, remember what Miss Oma has showed us, that recruitment is both an art and a science. Understanding how recruiters think will make you better at supporting hiring processes, advocating for candidates, and ultimately build stronger teams as well. So thank you once again, everyone. Miss Oma, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So everyone who joined, keep on learning, keep growing, and keep ascending. So until next time, thank you so much for
All
your
right.
support.
I would do well to send a PDF to everyone.
Sure.
So
Yes.
yes, you could go through it and it will help you as well. Okay.
Thank you so much, Miss Oma.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right. All right. You guys, you all have a great day.
You
It's
too,
an
Miss
honor.
Oma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back.
I will be back.
Yeah.
I will sure.